Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some of you, peace out to the rest of you. Black heart, black mind, black in again. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. What's good, darkness is? This one, to J. Cole and to to J. Cash. I don't know why I said J. Cole. To J. Cash and to the other J. Cashes. I'm recording this one to say that I now know and understand more than I did about less than 12 hours ago when I recorded part one of this. J. Cash, I read your comment underneath my last one addressed to you, and I realized even more. What you're going through is not what people are going to say. Many are going to look at your comments underneath mine, or they're going to listen to you say these things to them in real life, and they're going to say, well, you're whining, you got a persecution complex, you need to man up, you're just venting and whining because you don't like the fact that you're not selected. They'll say things like this. J. Cash, I don't have to see your photograph, and I don't have to have a woman look at your photograph and tell me how you look to understand. If you were just plain ugly to all attractive women, you would have known. Someone would have said something. You would have been lied to in many cases, but somebody also would have said something to you and told you. You probably would have figured it out yourself just looking. Whatever the case is, J. Cash, what you've expressed to me, I don't see as just a whine. I see it as you expressing a confusion so that somebody who understands the situation can give you some feedback that would help you. That's what I see going on. And if your confusion that you feel is not your fault. Because remember, even a real life Urkel can only be that because at a young age, no one sat him down and told him the truth between what women said they wanted and what they actually want. If this is explained to men at a young age, they don't turn out like Urkel unless they know what it is and they made their minds up. I'm going to go ahead and just be single my whole life so I can accomplish other things. That's the end of it. You don't wind up like a real life Urkel or even like a Carlton Banks who was not nearly as bad as Urkel. You don't wind up like a real life version of either one of those two unless you did not know at a young enough age that this was going to make you the last thing they wanted. Or unless you knew and you made an informed decision for some other greater reason that you're going to go ahead and just be that because you got other things you got to worry about. Men who are the least bit interested in having normal romantic or marital lives, normal family lives of their own, are the same ones that would not have chosen at a young age to be a Carlton Banks, let alone an outright Urkel in real life, knowing that this would make all attractive black women run the hell away from them. Or seek them out for everything except sex and validation. So, push that out the way. Don't let anyone tell you that somehow it's your fault that you became exactly what it is that they don't want, unless, of course, you knew at a younger age that that's what they did not want. Don't accept any guilt of that nature, any blame. Now, you can accept that it was an honest mistake, and that's if you became the real-life version of either one of those two. And if you did not, because I don't know, but I got my doubts, because if you did become that, you still would be less confused than what you seem to be right now. So understand this, J. Cash, confusion comes from mixed messages. Either contradictory statements, mixed messages, or the need for detail, but less detail than what you need, and then the orders to do something about what you've been told without having enough detail. These are the things that cause confusion. Lack of clarity or contradictions. That's it. You've been given lack of clarity and contradictions more than likely. I know because, for one, you and I have come up in the same region of the same country. So the culture is the same. Number two, you said it in so many words. But see, now I know more because of the comment that you made underneath my last address to the J Cashes, to you and the other J Cashes out there like you. In the last comment, you explained that your last pick. There have been those that have liked you, but then they changed their minds. But your last pick. In the end, your last pick, they're actually willing to give you a shot, give you a chance when they have someone else's kids, when they're fat, when they're in debt, or even when they're married. That says everything right there. J Cash, I'm going to go out on a limb here without seeing a photo of you, let alone without having a woman tell me what you look like, and I'm going to say it. Chances are they like what they see when they look at you. They don't mind the way that you look itself. But I said in a previous video entitled Unattractive versus Out of Style that what sisters in America actually want for themselves can vary from individual to individual. There will be those that like chocolate brothers. There'll be those that like butter pecan brothers. There'll be those that like them in the middle. There will be those that don't care about the shade. They care about something else. Individual taste must vary from individual to individual, including in women. Naturally so. They must. But sisters have a hive mind. Western women in general have a hive mind. They assess you through not only their own eyes, but through their friends' eyes. Don't let women tell you that they can sense certain things from a mile away. What they can sense from a mile away is how other women would react to you because they think similarly. They practice a group culture. They're competing for the same few men, so they learn to tell men for whom there's going to be a lot of competition. That's all. And men for whom there will be a medium amount, and men for whom there will be no competition. That's what they learn. So you don't have to be unattractive to be out of style. And that's not your fault. What's going on, what you're facing is a situation in which different ones have different opinions of you, which is normal. But they know that being seen out in public with you is going to open them up to scrutiny. They're aware of that. If that's the case, then they're not ready to stand up to scrutiny. Women don't stand up well to scrutiny from other women. They just don't. So what they're going to do is, if they do like you, they're going to try to put you off until later. And they know what they're doing. When they have used their value, going through a whole phase, then they're going to come to someone like you. So the reason they're coming to you with the debt, the kids, or even as an affair on the side when they're married is because actually there are those that do like you, but they're aware that they can't justify that choice to their friends when they're young and they're hot and they have options. Because they know that their friends and their peer groups got some upped up standards. They share the standards with them. And you can't justify making an intelligent decision to people who have upped up standards. They can't justify, if you are an intelligent decision in a man to make, they can't justify that to upped up friends. So that's what you're facing, because a lot of people have been facing this. A lot of brothers have. And in the South, it's usually paler brothers, especially if they have a racially ambiguous phenotype, as opposed to just being a light-skinned brother phenotype. Sometimes, some areas, it's so vicious that just being a light-skinned brother with a so-called black admixture phenotype, still recognizably black, sometimes even they catch it, they're hyper-scrutinized, and that's what's happened in your case. You're being hyper-scrutinized because right now when they're young and they're hot, they're looking for reasons to lose interest in you because they don't want you right now, as you've seen. They want you when their value runs out, when they've used it up. Then they come to you. I'm assuming that I'm assuming that now you're at least past your middle 20s. You may be even 25 at this point. And that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. Or you're older. And that's exactly why you're seeing what you're seeing. You've had enough time to observe the pattern. You've had enough years to observe it. So your chances are you're in your mid-20s or older, at least your mid-20s. but you've not had enough time to find someone that would actually sit down and explain to you what it is. And J. Cole, I don't think you seem to have, I'm sorry, J. Cash, I'm sorry about that. I keep on effing that up. J. Cash, you seem to have come on to my channel recently. And so you probably did not hear when I said that when I explained how it was that I got into my understanding of black women's colorism when scrutinizing black men like I did. I was lucky, man. I was about that age. I was 24 years old when 3 black women, 2 of them in the same summer, told me that with my phenotype, only the country and the ghetto broads were going to be into me. Or, of course, kids, debts. But that same time, I started getting hit up by women that were in relationships or that were married. Now, those women could be nice to look at. They didn't mind something on the side. What was the reason? Because I was not as unattractive as a lot of young, hot, attractive single sisters were acting like I was. It's because this gave them the perfect reason to tell me we got to keep this on the low so they can indulge in what they might actually like without this public scrutiny of it. You understand? That's what the reason was. And it sounds like you're facing the exact same thing from what you told me. And others have gone through this too. I've seen some other guys go through something similar, although it wasn't usually not quite as bad as what I had. It wasn't to the same degree, usually because they were more recognizable, usually. I mean, more racially recognizable, so it would mitigate it somewhat for many of them. But seems like what you're dealing with is this. I could be wrong, but based on what you're telling me now, this is what you're coming across. Some would find you attractive, some would find you unattractive, some would find you in the middle, but you're out of style in that area, and that's not your fault. Like E. Burner 27 said, and you responded to this, because they're so upped up, you have to actually embrace them passing you up as a sign that you're doing something right and normal, not something abnormal. The outcome is abnormal dealing with them, but that's not your fault again. It's a broken vending machine. It's like my toilet I made mention of before. I can flush it from the inside of its cistern in the back, and it's strong, but I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to pop off its top and reach into the inside of the cistern. I should be able to hit the button on the outside that you can see and have it fully flush. Now, where I live, we have these extra spray nozzles in bathrooms. People use that to rinse off their nether regions after they do either end of using the restroom, after they relieve themselves out of either avenue, so to speak. And it does keep you much cleaner, and you do smell a lot better even there. But sometimes you can use that to spray while you're also flushing. Either way, these are steps nobody should have to take to get this thing flushed completely. It's not the fault of the user when it doesn't flush. It is the fault of the toilet. And I don't like to compare human beings to toilets, but in this case, that's what it's like. Because they're acting like busted toilets. They're acting like broken vending machines. You walk in and you put in a full price and you can't get a Diet Coke. Somebody else walks up and puts in a dime, or he just leans on the machine and it kicks out a Coke and a snack. You understand? That's what they're like. And it's not just based on normal personal preferences. It is also based on group preferences. So all the vending machines act like this because they're in sync. They're just jacked up. And then, of course, they keep on showing on the screen user error when it's someone else that comes along and puts in the full price and then makes a selection. User error, user error, user error. It's you. You're lame. You're whack. You're stupid. Something like that. Now, if they really just didn't find you to be their cup of tea, you can't blame them And you can't blame those who do. They blame those who do and who show it to you, unless, of course, she's in a situation so bad she would not tolerate a man in the same scenario. That's why you got to be Superman for a regular Lois Lane, bruh. And that's why it is that what I would say is the best thing for you to do is to learn about ladies of other cultures as friends, while you are getting some skill set that's going to allow you to leave. To be honest with you, J Cash, I'll tell you this, the best route, man, in a short term, is to get a certificate called a CELTA that allows you to teach English as a foreign language. While you're learning that, also learn about Islam. And I say that for a reason. I know this firsthand. Because what I'm looking for you is a scenario in which you get the maximum and not even just what you see other guys getting. Get that certificate so you can teach English as a second language. Look for jobs in the Gulf countries, especially the Emirates or Qatar. And I'm telling you that the best way for you is to become Muslim. But if you don't want to, I still have a backup plan for you anyway. If you learn about Islam, and if you say, look, man, this makes sense, it adds up, then accept it. Get a job in one of those nations, come out here to the Gulf, because right now, as an African-American man, you actually, and one who is paid to teach, you actually can marry some of these Gulf citizens here, black or bronze, and they're gorgeous. Oh yeah. And now, now a lot of the local men ain't able to keep down jobs, or they're not marrying, or they don't want to, whatever the case is. They got plenty of unmarried women out here, your age or older, or younger, really. And you're paid enough to where you would be able to find a wife who has not effed around before. And you would be the first, and you can start a family, and there's no comparison for her to make between your ding-a-ling and another man's ding-a-ling. She ain't going through a whole phase. And if she does, all you got to do is prove she's going through a whole phase. You keep the kids. Believe that. Or, now mind you, these women can be spoiled too. The other option is, let's say that you'll get the job, you get out of the country, get out the U.S., but you ain't going to become Muslim. Okay, well, here's what you do then. You can still come out and work. Save up, save some dough. You could marry or just date, I'd prefer marry, some of the Filipinas. There are educated Filipinas here that some are nurses and teachers. Oftentimes the educated ones are nurses. And you could marry some of them. And I say some because you probably still could marry more than one. And then, one thing you could do is you could marry one here in the Gulf. Then you could have another one back in her country. And so when you get vacations, you can travel to that nation and stay with that wife. While you're working, you could stay in the Gulf with that wife. There are many ways that you can actually make what you've been through pay off. And I hate to sound crass like this, because a lot of women are going to say, well, you teaching him how to use women. I would say, not really. I'm not telling you to abuse them, but, relationships are transactional. How about you, for once, get something out of the deal from someone who is attractive to you? Or from someone's, preferably two, that are attractive to you. And you can take your holidays, your vacations, you can take them in different parts of the continent too. And you can find wives there. Now, of course, you could find girlfriends and dig them out, but I can't encourage you to do that because I'm myself a Muslim. But the point I'm making is that you get out of the United States with a skill that'll make you a decent living somewhere else, and you will get the bang for your buck. You get the bangs that you were intentionally shut out of in the States because all of them got together where you live now and decided J Cash is not worth the same thing that we're going to give these other guys. who are not going to do anything in exchange for it. So since they all got together and decided that, there are other places where you can find the validation and more. And you still will be able to live your life responsibly. You don't have to be an irresponsible, stereotypical nigger knucklehead to get it. That's real. That's what I want for you, because that's the best. And you don't deserve to have to sit up and always tolerate crap from them and always have to do more just to get less. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell you to stay on the sideline celibate, holding your testes for an indefinite length of time either. I ain't going to tell you to do that. But no, man, you exactly what them sisters out there where you are now were just giving freely to other men that they want you to, conquer the world for, you can find with other women by being a responsible man. But what you've been through, man, sounds to me like just pure deep confusion. It ain't your fault, because they just feel more comfortable lying to you than they do telling you the truth about what the hell they want in the first place. And that ain't no reason in the world somebody could sit up and blame me for it. It wasn't you. It was them all along. I hope that what I've said has been a benefit. Thanks for listening. To the rest of the audience, Assalamu alaikum and peace. Black heart, black mind, black out, and black heterosexual non-select male power just because the gynocrats, matriarchs, goons, and ma'am dingoes don't like it.